Okay, students, we're going to go through lab 2 and 3, which is this here, which will be starting this Friday tomorrow. Let's get this going. I'm going to kind of step you through this. The circuit will already be on. You don't have to do anything there. The test long is not on yet. We'll put that on shortly. So while it is booting up, let me kind of get going here. We'll wait. So the first step here, it tells us to connect the power, red outlet, connect the air, that'll already be connected. And then it wants us to input some values here. We're going to be doing AC, VC. Okay, and here it comes up. Okay, AC, VC, and it wants to know new patient. We're going to say new adult down here, and then you got to press the button here. This is the Drager. You have to actually press the dial to get it going. And it's gonna give us, so we're not too concerned about ideal body weight right now, and all that. So we're gonna go into ventilator settings down here. Okay, and we're gonna select VCAC or ACVC, doesn't really matter, or CMV VC on another ventilator, and it wants us to input assist control of 12, so respiratory rate of 12. I go down 12, select it, and then it says a tidal volume of 350. Go to tidal volume 350. Oop, gotta go slow on this one. Here we go. And then it says PEEP of 5 and FiO2 30%. PEEP of 5. 5. FiO2 30%. 30%. There we go. We're going to keep I time this current, whatever it says there, 1.2 seconds. We're going to keep the slope at 0.2 seconds. Okay, and at this point we are pretty much ready. Before we set alarms, we actually have to connect the lungs. I'm going to connect this. Okay, and we're going to click, it's connected, and I'm going to click, where are we here? Start standby, bottom right here. It's already, all the settings are in, ACVC, 30%, 1.2 seconds. I time, respiratory rate of 12, tidal volume 350, a slope of 0.2 seconds, PEEP of 5. And now we're just going to click start ventilation. Oh, and then you got to select it. Here we go. Okay, so now give it a few breaths. So whenever you hear the alarm going off on this, you can always press the alarm silence on this one here, just to silence it, and it'll tell you up here 120 seconds. Someone will see a minute. And I'm going to go up here and it says alarm reset. I'm going to click alarm reset and then select the button. That'll clear up all the alarms. So whenever an alarm goes on, press the alarm silence, find out what the problem is, and we will correct that. So right now we are set on ACVC, a rate of 12. Tidal volume 350. Again, these are the return values that are coming back from the patient. Remember, because of the tubing compliance and the stretchability of the tubing, there's going to be a little bit of loss there. You know, some might be a little bit more than this, but apparently it's right. We're giving 350 down here, and we're getting 350, 349, whatever coming back. Then what I want you to do to use your vent checkoff sheet, and it looks like this. Then what I need you to do is to go down the first column. You're going to put in the date up on top. You can put in the time, and then you're going to put in what the input is: volume, AC, VC. You're going to put in the respiratory rate, tidal volume, PEEP, FiO2. Go all the way down. Everything you can put in there. And then what I want you to do, we're going to set the alarms. So from here, I'm going to go to alarms. This one here is the top right. We'll click it, and it shows you alarms. There's about 4 or 5 different alarm settings we can put in here. And you're going to use the values that are being displayed that are returning from the patient. These are the where you're going to set your alarms. We have the PIP here, it says 28. And according to your laminated card here, high pressure limit, we need to set it 10 to 15 above the PIP. Okay, so we're going to go in here. That is, it says, this one here says PAW, pressure, airway pressure. We're going to press it. It says 40 right now, and we can, 40 would be just fine actually, but if I go 10 above PIP, that would be 29. Oh, sorry, 10 above PIP, 38, sorry. And so I could put it at 40, that's fine. Kind of round numbers would be good, but if you put it 38, you're fine, okay? But I'm gonna leave it at 40, okay? And then I can tap that to come out of there. Respiratory rate, it's 12 is what we're getting. And and it says respiratory rate, high respiratory rate, 10 to 15 above. So I'll just do 10. So 12, add 10 to 12, that's 22. So I'm gonna go to 22. Also remember that I know this is like, here in the lab, we're going by this set of guidelines here, and we're gonna kind of follow that. In the real world, you might not want you to do something like this. They might just tell you keep the PIP at 40, peak inspiratory pressure alarm, the respiratory rate 35. You'll see how the respiratory rate alarm limit 35 is a significant number, 35. That'll come into play when we look at weaning the patient later on. But anyhow, so I set the alarm for respiratory rate. It's at, it changed, so my mistake. Let's go back, at 10 would be 22. Now I can select it. Tidal volume, it needs to be high tidal volume. And of course, this one doesn't have a low respiratory rate. It just has an upper limit. So that's the way that goes. Tidal volume says high tidal volume is 150 to 200, and the low tidal volume limit, again, the same, 150 to 200. So we have, and this one only shows a high upper limit for tidal volume. So we have 350 is what we're getting, and it's fluctuating a little bit. We'll start with 350. I'm going to put it at 200 above 350, so that would be 550. So I'm going to dial this down to 550, slow. That's the upper limit. Okay, then we'll go back here and it'll say minute ventilation. Minute ventilation, it's showing you here is 3.96. Okay, again, minute ventilation is the respiratory rate times your tidal volume. That's going to give you minute ventilation. Right now it's 4. Let's just say 4. We'll keep it at that. And it says here, for high minute ventilation, we want to set it at 5 liters per minute. The above limit and the low minute ventilation, which we do have here, set it at 2 to 5 liters per minute, or 10 to 15% above or below baseline. This is the baseline, is 4. Okay, so I'm going to, let's just go with 5, because I'm not going to do this long calculation here, multiplying 10% times 4 and then add, which basically it'll be 4.4 or something liters per minute. But anyways, we're going to put it at 5. I'll tap the upper limit and go to 5. Dial this down. Upper limit is 5, lower limit is going to be 2 to 5 liters. So I'm going to just put it down to 2. Dial this to 2. 2. Okay, so we got upper limit, lower limit, minute ventilation delay. We're not going to set that. We'll keep that at 0. We're going to go into alarm current. Any other alarms up here? We're going to be checking. They give you alarm history, anything that's kind of gone off and when it went off and everything. But settings, let's see if there's anything here. Alarm volume. This one doesn't sound too loud, so I'll leave it to where it's at. That's pretty much it with the alarms on the Draeger. Okay. So with that said, we can go back out. We can close it here. And I want you to kind of look at the scalars right now. We have 3 scalars: the pressure over time, flow over time, volume over time. And if you look at this one here, what flow pattern are we using? Okay, and if you said a decelerating slope, you are correct. All right, so we can actually change that as well. And I'll show you how to do that. But here's the pressure scaler. So everything underneath in the pressure scaler, everything under in the blue, that's shaded blue, is mean airway pressure. Okay, over the entire cycle of breathing throughout this time. And mean airway pressure is up here. That'll come into play later when we use the oxygen index formula, but just that it is there. And you have your PIPs, peak inspiratory pressure. That's the highest part of the pressure scalar waveform. Here is volume, and it kind of looks like a pyramid shape. This one has a little curve to it, but I want you to look at that. Okay, and let's see what's next on the list. I want you to look at the loops. On this one here, to access the loops, you have to go to the view, and view number 2. Let's see. The loops, yeah, this one displays the loops right up here. I want you to just look at the loops. This is the volume pressure loop, and this inspiratory phase on the volume pressure loop is the bottom one. It goes out to the highest pressure, and then it exhale comes back, and it needs to come back to baseline, whatever that is. Right now baseline is 5 centimeters of water pressure, and this one here is flow over volume. So the horizontal axis here is volume, measuring volume. Okay, so inspiratory is above that line, inspiration, all the way till get maximum volume, and then exhalation on the bottom. Okay, so then you can go back to your pressure scalars. And also here, if we went into this window, you could see IE ratio. It's listed down here. This one automatically will display a dynamic compliance. But the next thing you're going to need to do is calculate dynamic compliance. I know it says it here, but you can't use those numbers. I want you to use your formula for dynamic compliance, which is the volume 351 divided by peak inspiratory pressure, remove any additional pressure, which is 5 a peep, wherever that is here, 5 a peep. It's 5 is what we put in. So you're going to remove 5 and do that formula. That'll give you your compliance, and it'll probably come out looking kind of close to 17.1. Okay. Then you're going to do your static compliance. We're going to do an inspiratory hold. So this one here, if you look on the screen, it says manual inspiratory hold. So what you're going to do is we're going to press it. It's going to hold it, and then I'm going to let go after 3 seconds. So let's do this. Let's go to the pressure, the scalars, view 1, and I'm going to show you how you get the plateau pressure when we hold it. Okay, this one makes it a little bit easier to see the pressure scalar. So we're going to go back to manual inspiratory hold. I'm going to hold for about 2-3 seconds. As soon as I'm done with that, you're going to need to click freeze waveform. So let's do that, and I'll show you why. Hold it for 1, 2, 3 seconds. Freeze waveform. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, and hopefully you can see. Let me zoom in. And tilt up a little bit. Okay. Zoom in a little tighter. Okay. Okay, so here, the top one is the pressure scaler, okay, and I froze the waveform. So now with your dial, you can turn this, and if you see there's a little line here that'll scroll, it'll scrub across the waveform, okay? And if you scroll all the way to the highest part of this, the pressure scaler, the first part of it, you go all the way to the highest point, and you can dial that right, fine tune it right there, and it'll tell you right up on top what your peak airway pressure is. It's 27.1. Remember, we put a hold on this for 3 seconds, so there's a long pause here, plateau, and I'm going to scroll past that top, and it'll show you now this whole part up here is a plateau pressure where I'm scrubbing back and forth on that waveform. And that is, plateau pressure is, that pressure there is 26.2. That is your plateau pressure, okay? On this machine, that's how you do it, okay? If you need help on the other machines, I will be here in the lab. I can show you, okay? But anyhow, so now you have plateau pressure. So you're going to use that minus the PEEP and divide that into your tidal volume, 350, okay? And that will give you your compliance, your static compliance. This one does not spit out a static compliance display. I'm looking for it, it doesn't. I'm going to unfreeze this, and I'm going to see if there's anywhere on the ventilator where it shows static compliance. It might somewhere. There's some another one here, special maneuvers. You can actually go into special maneuvers and access the manual inspiratory hold. Let's do it from here and see what happens. I'm going to hold it 3 seconds. Let go. And is it giving me any information? Diagnostics. Let's see if it do any diagnostics. Nope. I don't see any diagnostic thing in there. So it's not showing me a static compliance on this ventilator. It doesn't display it anywhere. Okay? So that's what you're going to do. Let me zoom out here so we can get back to where we were. So you're going to, oops. Oh, I guess I zoomed back in accidentally. Sorry guys, here we go. Right there, it's good enough. Okay, so we did a dynamic compliance, we did a static compliance, and now it wants you to change from assist control to SIMV volume control. So while it's still running, you're going to go into ventilator settings, which would be vent settings, top right, underneath alarms, okay? And with this one here, you're going to go to let's see, other modes. Click other modes, and it's going to give you, it's interesting here, this machine, it displays both VC-AC, but then again it'll say VC-CMV. It's whatever, they come up with the same name anyway. So I'm going to go back to other modes, and we're going to go to SIMV volume control. Okay? So the settings are all going to be the same, okay? We still have a rate of 12. We have a slope of 0.2, peep of 5. This one actually has pressure support. Again, SIMV is a form of weaning, and usually they'll have pressure support in there to assist the patient with their own volume. I got to go back in there now because I waited too long. So VC SIMV, I'm going to select everything. So now we are in SIMV mode. So any volume that the patient takes, initiates a breath, is going to be their own volume. Plus, pressure support is helping them out a little bit. So we'll just keep pressure support on there. Everything else is kind of the same. So if the patient never takes a breath on SIMV, this is going to pretty much act just like the ACVC. Not going to be much different. Unless the patient starts initiating, triggering their own breath, then they will we'll see smaller volumes here, depending on how strong the patient can take a breath. Okay. So also on here is sensitivity, and let me access that. I believe if I go into vent settings, let's see if it'll show additional settings. It's going to show me off to the left. It's got trigger and termination. So they got the flow trigger right now. Currently it's on flow trigger set at 2 seconds. Okay. And if I click it, it'll open up that window, flow trigger. And I'm going to adjust flow trigger to wherever I want it. Usually 2 or 3, defaults to 2. Okay. If I want to go to pressure trigger, let's see. I wonder if this one has pressure trigger. That's kind of interesting. Okay, I have a feeling this one does not generate a pressure trigger. Where am I? Let me go back to VC, volume control, additional settings, pressure trigger. Interesting, this ventilator only allows flow trigger. I'm going to play around with this a little bit. Let's go back to 2. Okay, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to adjust anything on that trigger. It's set to flow. Okay, so anyways, when you're done with that, it tells you to switch them over to volume control of 12. Let's go back to the settings. Vent settings. Oh yeah, up here. General settings, rate of 12, that's on there. Okay. Looks like, where are we looking here? Volume control, yeah, volume control of, actually, volume control 400. Total volume. Respiratory rate of 14. Turn that up to 14. 15. And it says peep of 5 and 40%. 40%. Go up. Peep of 5. It doesn't ask for pressure support, so I'm going to turn pressure support off. Okay. So now we are in SIMV, volume control, and guess what? We're going to probably have to adjust the alarms because now things change. We went up on the respiratory rate, so now that alarm range is changing. So we have to go back into alarms. Minute ventilation. Minute ventilation is going off right here. Now the minute ventilation is 5.34. It's above the limit here, so we have to do that 10 to 15%. So let's round this off. 10% of 5.34 is 535 cc's, so I'm going to add 535 to the top one. Oh, actually to the current value. So that'd be 5.9 upper limit. Okay. And you can see now that that cleared that alarm, though it does display up here what the alarm was, and we can remove that by pressing that and pressing the button. So now it's cleared it. And then the low minute ventilation, yeah, you can go and do the 1015 below the baseline 5.33. You could do that. I'm not going to change it right now. You have your respiratory rate, since that went up a little bit, 10 to 15 above the current respiratory rate would bring us to 24, the lowest, 10, okay, 24. Peak airway pressure, that kind of stayed the same. We didn't see much change with peak airway pressure because we're still delivering the same volume. Okay, nothing's changed. I'm not going to adjust the volume there. The tidal volume was changed. It was at 350, now we're at 400. So we want to do 150 to 200 above. So I'm going to go 200 above the 400. So that'll bring us to 600 upper limit. Okay. And so now that's the changes that we have made. And you would, on your vent sheet, you would go to the appropriate changes on another column. You do another column and you put in the date and time and the mode of ventilation that was changed to, any other parameter that was changed, the respiratory rate, tidal volume, FiO2, PEEP, and for pressure support you would put 0. And then these numbers here are what you would put down in the section of the vent flow sheet where they are being monitored, all the different values there, okay? When you're done with that, you're pretty much finished. You can just sign your sheet and indicate what ventilator that you're assigned to, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to put this ventilator in standby. Bottom right says start standby, and then up here it'll say standby, and you got to select the button. Okay, so right now it's in standby. Make sure you turn the power off on the side panel on this one. Okay, not just on the front here. There we go. So now we're all completely shut off, and that's it.